Well, the NuWay stove installation is done on Nikki's 6x10 converted cargo trailer. In this video, we're going to show exactly what we did and a little bit about how we did it along the way too, but mainly you'll see when I show you what we've got here, and I'll explain how you can do this yourself. Well, this is what we did to mount Nikki's NuWay stove. We got an upper kitchen cabinet, 2 foot by 4 foot piece of plywood, good on one side, and the stove is going to go right there in the V-nose of the trailer. And put a piece of white aluminum over the screw holes and then put in the vent for the propane stove right there. Now you're wondering about what happens with that vent removed. Well, that's all part of pressurizing the inside of the trailer for when you're going down a dirt road. And we've got this vent on the front now that forces air into the trailer. When you force air into the trailer, clean air up there, it keeps dusty air from going down a dirt road from getting into your outfit. Now, for more information on that, check the video links below, because I did 2 videos on pressurizing your trailer to keep the dust out. This is turning out pretty nice. All for mounting the NuWay stove on top. Still got blue masking tape on the corners there because Nikki needs to put on one more coat on the tabletop today. The stove will be installed just like that and vent up through the corner. You can see the vent from the inside. And I need to start cutting metal to go underneath the stove and behind the stove and putting the pipe together. This is what that vent looks like right now from the inside. Let's see, there's a damper down here and something else up. What the heck is that about? Well, you stay tuned here and I'll explain what that's about. Well, there's nothing fancy here. We still have to put the shelves inside this cabinet and put the door back on. And then a piece of plywood that we put on the top, and we contoured it so you could get by it easier, still leaving about 16 inches or more of in depth on the counter space. So that's what we did there. Over on the right side of the stove, you can see the propane line coming in, comes up through the floor. We used diamond plate, 1/8 inch diamond plate. There is no heat from under the stove, you know, when it's burning, it's just warm down here, but that's in case you drop a match or something, you don't burn your countertop. And then there's 1/8 inch diamond plate coming up the back, and that's got 1/2 inch spare spacers behind it to space it out from the wall. I know that on my own stove, in my own trailer, the diamond plate only gets slightly warm anyway. But what is that? I'm not ready to talk about that yet. I got to wait. The thing about propane is this is vented propane, and you don't get any moisture in the air when you use a NuWay stove. So this is like having a wood burner, only you don't have to carry wood, you don't have to carry kindling, you don't have smoke coming out your chimney. Oh, speaking of which, we ran this out the side. Let's go talk about that. And what is that valve up there? What the heck is that about? Now, I showed you that earlier, and people have commented, they're saying, oh, when the wind is coming from the side of your trailer, you're going to get, it's going to blow the flame out inside. It's better to have your vent on the top. Well, that might be true, and that's something we're going to have to watch out for. However, there is an easy fix. If wind from the side of your trailer is a problem, when you're camped and you got this becomes the windy side, you can put a clamshell over top of that, and that should stop that. So that ought to fix that, if that turns out to be a problem. Otherwise, I think that turned out pretty neat. Up here is how we did the gas bottle. It gets a single tank plastic cover on it that we have to modify a little bit to get it to fit. The mount I used is a lot stronger than it looks in their photograph. When you buy it online, for example, this metal is 3/16 of an inch thick, and the band around it is very tough too. I got to give them an A for simplicity of design and strength and price. It was very reasonable. Now, how did we run the hose? Well, this is an 8-foot hose, and the way we ran it, we made sure, down through the V here, it does not pass underneath a frame at all. So it just goes underneath here and comes right up through the floor on the inside. You don't want your propane hose to be underneath the frame. In case you go over a rock or a stump or something, you do not want to get this hose broken that way. So this does not pass underneath the frame. It just goes under here and right up through the floor on the other side. To make the transition through the floor, I used a rubber bung here. I drilled a 1-inch hole, went to my hardware store, got a rubber bung, and I drilled a 9/16 hole down through the middle of it, which was relatively easy to do. And then I slid it down one side. So that protects the hose from chafe and from movement and also blocks any dust. I fitted over the hose. I put sealant down the slit on the side and sealant around the hose and sealant around the bung, and then pounded it down the floor. We're not going to get any dust through there, and the hose isn't going to chafe. Now, what's a damper for on this stove? Well, this damper, if I shut it all the way, the hot air the exhaust gas can still flow through it and around it. It just slows the flow of the exhaust gases down. It doesn't stop them. We normally run it with this at a 45-degree angle. Just Linda and I in our own trailer. And what that does is it makes the heat stay in the stove longer and makes it hotter. This NuWay stove does have a baffle inside that forces the heat to come up and go around the front of the baffle and then this way and then up, so you get the max amount of heat. I'm not sponsored by NuWay at all. I just like their stoves, and it just works really well for us. Nikki was going to get a diesel heater, but the fact of the matter is these are nice for boiling water, warming up your coffee cups, and just that nice, steady, constant, quiet heat is just really nice. Above the stove, she'll mount just a USB fan, the kind that plug into your computer. They sit on your desk. We've been using one of those for a couple of years now, and they're fairly quiet, and all you need to do is push the heat down to the floor, and they do that. What the heck is that thing? The metal doesn't stick up very far on the NuWay stove, so when you put these screws in to hold your flue pipe, you actually have to drill kind of at a downward angle. But there's 3 screws here around the circumference, and then the pipe itself is all riveted together. Once I determined where everything goes, I riveted it all together. And then I had to use a piece of sheet metal wrapped around the pipe and held with hose clamps, because the diameter of that vent I used is the same diameter as this pipe. And even the end that's all corrugated around the end would not go into it. So I solved that by taking some sheet metal, wrapping it around the pipe, and then clamping it down with hose clamps. That worked really well. If the stovepipe was going straight up through the roof, it would have been pretty structurally solid, but because it has this 90-degree angle in it, it would flop. So I went and got a shelf bracket from the hardware store, and I bent this end of it up at a 90-degree angle so that the hose clamp goes over that bend. And now this is really steady here. It's nice and solid. And then I spray painted it black, that's all. The only expensive thing here is that doggone diamond plate. 1/8-inch diamond plate, 2 feet by 2 feet, was $80. You don't have to use diamond plate. You can use corrugated metal roofing or any other kind of metal that you can get your hands on and spray paint and make it look good. I think this looks pretty spiffy though. Of course, originally up here there was a vent that was supposed to pump air into the trailer. Vents on your corner of your trailer, upper forward corner of your trailer, do not push air into your trailer. They suck it out. You wouldn't think so, but it does. Now we have a vent on the other side of the V. And I'm going to tell you about that, and that'll explain that. Any of you that live out west here are familiar with the fact that when you drive down a dirt road to a camping area, when you get to your campsite, your trailer is all dusty. All the countertops and everything are covered in dust. Well, this vent up here is to pressurize the inside of your trailer so that dust doesn't come in. Now, I've made 2 videos on pressurizing the inside of your trailer, so I'm not going to go into detail here. I'll just touch on it. But I'll put the links to those videos below. And if you have a problem with keeping the dust out of your trailer, you're going to want to watch it. Basically, the vent that they normally put up in the trailer up there, because of the air coming off the V, shooting off the V like this, that vent up there that was standard on this trailer, it actually pulls air out because the air coming off of here creates a low pressure system right here and sucks air out of your trailer and sucks dust into every nook and cranny, every crevice around your door, around your rear door. It makes them all suck dust. And then back here on the right rear corner of most cargo trailers, there's another vent here that's designed to pull air out. So double whammy, creating a big vacuum inside your trailer. And then it is impossible to make the doors seal well enough to keep the dust out when just a pinhole will be allowing a plume of dust to constantly come into your outfit. This is my own trailer, and I solved the problem by making a sheet metal scoop to go on mine. That works. It scoops air and forces it inside the trailer. But we did something different on Nikki's by putting hers on the front edge of the trailer, and we need to test this out. I've been waiting for her to drive through a rainstorm to see if this has a water diverter inside of it, but I don't know in heavy rain driving down the freeway if it's going to force water in or not. I need to test this. I think I'll do that right now. Okay, Linda's inside the trailer here. She's going to watch that vent, see if any water comes in. I've got the hose set up, and I'm going to come out and start spraying water at it and try to make it as realistic as I can. Okay, Linda, you ready? Right. Anything that way? She said, so far, so good. Anything that way? No, she says no. Okay, here comes again. Say what? Okay, she says nothing. And I was putting a lot of water into that. So I think this passes. This is all right. One word of caution though. Whereas this water and rain won't make it through that vent, snow will. I learned that by experience when we were driving through a blizzard, pulled over for the night, and found the front part of this trailer inside all covered with a layer of snow. If you find yourself in that predicament, do what we always do. Carry a roll of Gorilla Tape. When it starts snowing, stop the car and put some tape over the face of that vent. Because snow is really lightweight and it's like air and it'll make that turn, whereas rain can't. It's got to go right past it. So that leads us back to this. So why is this necessary? Because it doesn't do you any good to be pumping air in over here, only to have that air go through the stove, up the flue, and go back out again, and you're not pressurizing the trailer at all. It's just making a pass from one side and out the other side. So with this closed, no air goes through. Aha, is the stove dangerous like that? Well, it's not exactly dangerous, because you can have a propane stove or a camp stove and you can cook with it inside. You cook with a gas flame inside your house, don't you? A lot of us do. So it's not particularly dangerous fume-wise. You do have to be worried about burning up the oxygen in here though. I'm not coming right out and suggesting that people do this modification. I did it on my trailer and we've done it on this trailer, because you have to make sure you open this before you light the stove. But I mean, you'd have to be kind of brainless not to. It's just, I'm going to light the stove. Well, I better open the valve. I mean, it's all part of it, isn't it? You got to open this valve to light it. You got to push this valve. Well, this is another one. You got to make sure this is in the open position before you use it. If keeping the dust out of your trailer is important, you got to take extra measures, and that's one of them. Now you might be wondering about that silicone that seals this off. It's a stainless steel plate inside with silicone around the edge of it, a silicone seal. Silicone will stand up to 500 degrees, 450 for sure. And this pipe doesn't get all that hot. So I don't think we're going to exceed that, but that's another reason why I'm not suggesting that you do this mod, is because this one, the jury is still out on that. For safety wise, when that stove is running and the damper is open, it's constantly pulling air in through this vent, which is always open. You can't shut this one off. This is always open to the outside air. So when the stove is running like on medium or something, you can actually put your fingers up here and feel air coming in. On top of that, Linda and I never run the stove without having a window cracked. We just like to pull fresh air through. So part of lighting the stove is opening the window, something we do all the time. Well, I hope you guys got something out of this video. Nikki's taking this trailer out this weekend to go camping, and it is set to go. Anyways, if you liked it, give it a like, a share, and please subscribe, and we'll see you around.